All right, Shalom, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, the bonds to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule well, and salutations to all of Akim that's pushing the word in all sincerity. This is going to be a response video to this video, Black Hebrew Israelites Debunked, and you got this devil on here talking about Deuteronomy 28. In the 68th verse is talking about an event that happened after 70 AD where I guess Israelites were captured and brought to actual Egypt and Africa on ships to be sold, but then they ended up not being sold, which I'm gonna get into how that breakdown makes absolutely no sense. All right, so basically he's saying that well, I'll just read the verse, Deuteronomy 28:68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. So he's saying this is not talking about America. It's not talking about the transatlantic slave trade. All right, he's saying this is talking about actual Egypt and I guess his people were put on ships, which, okay, let's just keep going. It says, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there, in actual Egypt, ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. So he's saying that and no man shall buy you means, well, that means that they weren't sold. They weren't bought or purchased. Now, my question is, if you look at, if you use his breakdown, all right, if you use his point of view, Israelites were captured, put on ships, brought to actual Egypt, and not sold into slavery, then how is that a curse? How does that fit under a curse? If you're brought to your enemies to be brought as slaves, and they do not purchase you or buy you, that's a blessing. You see what I'm saying? How does that identify as a curse? And I got the definition of curse here on my screen from dictionary.com, right? This is curse. You skip down to the fifth definition. This is curse, an evil that has been invoked upon one, right? The sixth definition, the cause of evil, misfortune, or trouble. So how does not being sold into slavery a evil, misfortune, or trouble? How does that fit? If anything, looking at it from his breakdown, the 68th verse should be up towards the top, where the blessings from Deuteronomy from verse 1 to 15, which I believe is the blessings. This verse should be up there in the top if they weren't sold. So it goes to show you that when it says, and no man shall buy you, that's not talking about being physically bought, like with some type of resource or trade. It's talking about being redeemed or saved out, or being saved out of your situation. Now, in this video he tried to say that the word redeem, the word buy in that verse doesn't mean redeem, which he's a goddamn liar, because it does mean redeem. All right, now I got the Hebrew word here. Okay, I'm on the blue letter. If you look up the word buy, all right, it's from the Hebrew word quanah, right? Now it says to get, acquire, create, buy, possess, to get, acquire, obtain of God or of the Most High, originating, creating, redeeming his people. You see that? Redeeming his people. And let me go to the etymology for the word redeem. Right? because that's what that breakdown means, man. We were sold into slavery, okay, but we weren't saved out. We're still not saved out of our situation. You've had all of these so-called leaders and movements, so to speak, that come about, and they haven't done nothing, man. All right, here's the word redeem from the etymology dictionary. Redeem, early 15th century, buy back, ransom. Also, in the theological sense, deliver from sin or spiritual death. You see? So that's what that was. To be delivered from sin or spiritual death. Because why? We went into slavery because why? Israel sinned. We went off. And we're still paying for those sins. That's why we're still in America to this day. All right. So again, you know, his breakdown is just totally wrong, in which the brothers already went into how this Egypt is not talking about actual Egypt, man. It's talking about America. Brothers already broke that down, went into Revelations 11. All right, brought out documents, data, showing the blatant similarities between actual Egypt and America. But you know, these so-called Jews, these devils, are gonna try to fight and bring out the information. It ain't gonna work, man. All right, we got the truth. You can't you know, dismiss what we saying, because we coming in the spirit, and we coming with proof. All right, so going back to Deuteronomy 28. Bear me one moment. Yeah, Deuteronomy 28 and 68 again. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt, which is America, all right, spiritual Egypt, again with ships, by way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies. All right, we were sold unto, matter of fact, since I read that, let me get Joel, the 3rd chapter. All right, because Joel 3 is a more detailed explanation to Deuteronomy 28, right? But let me finish Deuteronomy. It says, and there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, which we were. All right, the history's out on that. You can watch all kind of movies. That's known history. The Negroes were sold. The Negroes and Hispanics, all right, and the other tribes were sold into slavery to the so-called white man for slave men and slave women. And no man saved us out. All right, now let me get Joel, the 3rd chapter. And I'm gonna start at, I think I start at verse 3. It says, Joel 3 and 3, and they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine, that they may drink. Now, when you do the history on the transatlantic slave trade, all right, we was traded to the so-called Africans, the Hamites, for musket, guns, and wine. All right, that's why I say, that's why I'm saying that here, because that came to pass. All right, when we were sold for musket, guns, and wine. It says, yea, and what have you to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coast of Palestine? Will you render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, I will return your recompense upon your own head, because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. All right, verse 6. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. Now, who are the Grecians? The Grecians is the Greeks, so-called white man. All right, and notice it says remove far from their border. All right, because we were refugees in Africa, sold to the so-called white man. All right, via the Africans, the Arabs supplying the slave ships. We were brought to the shores of America. This shit right here. All right, this is a more detailed depiction of the 68th verse in Deuteronomy 28. All right. It says, behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. See, so we're still here, which is why it says, and no man shall buy you, because why? Yahweh Shem Yahushai has to redeem or buy us out, all right, or save us out of this captivity, man. So, you know, that's pretty much the point, man. Matter of fact, let me get one more. Job, the 19th chapter. Pardon me. Right, Job 19, and I think it's the 25th verse. Yeah, Job 19 and 25, because yeah, no man, no physical man has been able to save us out, man. All right, we need Yahweh Shem Yahushua to save us out, all right, which is the Most High and His Son, all right, who we call Jesus Christ, all right. Job 19 and 25. For I know that my Redeemer liveth. You see? For I know that my Redeemer liveth, and that he shall stand at the latter day upon the earth. And that Redeemer is talking about Yahweh Shai, all right, in the latter day. And we're living in the latter day. All right, we're living in the time of Israel receiving deliverance. Now, let me look up that word Redeemer. The Hebrew word Ga'al, I believe it says, Ga'al, to redeem, act as a kinsman, redeemer, avenge, revenge, ransom. All right, just like we read in the etymology of the word redeem, it said to buy back and ransom. To redeem by payment, to redeem individuals from death. That also goes back to the redeemer etymology, or the word redeem, where it says in a theological sense, to be delivered from spiritual death, man. You know, to redeem oneself, to be redeemed. Yeah, so that's what we're waiting on. We're waiting on Yahweh Shah to redeem us out of our situation, because no man is going to be able to do it. The scriptures say, wants you that trusteth in man and make I believe it says, and make flesh your arm. All right, you're supposed to trust in the spirit, man. You know, so I mean, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the only point that this devil was trying to come with, trying to disregard Deuteronomy 28, talking about that's not talking about us, which, you know, you know what I mean, you clearly don't know prophecies, man, and the spirit ain't dealing with you because you the devil that the Bible speaks of, man. All right, so I think that's all I had. You know, the point is proven. You know, Deuteronomy 28 is not talking about post 70 AD or around that time period. It's talking about this the Atlantic slave trade, man. All right. So with that, I'm gonna say shalom.